Let me start with the positive then. Certainly from the midpoint of the second quarter on, except for the first few minutes of the second half, I thought our defensive intensity was there, as you said, especially in the fourth quarter. We put on our two different type of presses then, and we've got some steals off that or some turnovers then, and some easy looks at the basket. Plus, we got to the foul line too. We're a team that shot 78% last year from the foul line, and I think we're 14 out of 17 tonight. So that's our forte. The negative, was kind of a mystery. Why? They came out in a man we were expecting a zone, and the first four possessions we weren't even in an offense. Everybody was just doing their own thing out there, and so our lack of execution on offense would be probably the most disappointing thing.
And how long did it take to kind of rectify that? Because you're right, it did take a long time for that first field goal. I think we had it clocked at 2:30 left in the first quarter, and then it still took a while to see that rhythm that we would eventually see in the fourth quarter. Did you ever feel you found it here tonight? And if so, how did you get to that point?
Well, to be honest, no, I wasn't confident that we had put it in fifth gear, so to speak. We had, a combination on the floor which we haven't had this season. Granted, this is only our second game, but even in practice, we really had, 3-point guards on the floor. Plus, Cade Hardiman is a guy capable of playing point guard, and then we had Ben Muehlstein inside. Then we had to match up with Barneville because. They're a very good, fundamentally sound team, but they're not the big, tall teams that we face sometimes in the SWAL conference. So some of our post in play normally will play then in other games. But
we talked about off air the sequence at the end of the second quarter, where there was the scramble for the ball, looked for a split second like you cleared the rebound, but hands kept going after the ball, and Barneville winds up with it in 2 points. You go from, at one point, being down 8 or 9 early in the half to, looking like you're going to go in at, down 2, and then you're down 4, and momentum-wise, that one was hard to probably to balance as you went in the locker room.
Yeah, you never know. Then just because those 5 guys that finished the first half were the team that got us back into the ball game. That's why I started that combination in the second half, and then we came out flat. So it's just maybe it was just a coincidence or one of those things, but it's why this game is an interesting game.
Yeah. So. Well, and then the other interesting facet was you got Jeremy Whitish in foul trouble, and for all but maybe 4 minutes of this game, a virtual non-factor to his level that he normally is a factor. But then he comes out, and after Myers hits the 3-ball to start the third quarter, then Whitish puts on a show, and just long enough for them to, as you look back on it, to point to that as being another key difference.
Well, I think that's what we're going to eventually have here in Darlington. But, right now that Ben Muehlstein has been our leading scorer in our first 2 ball games, and Cole McDonald was our leading scorer last year, we're still waiting for someone else to step up and be that consistent scorer for us. And that's what Barneville has. They have 3 or 4 guys that can hit some key shots down the stretch. And as you alluded to, I mentioned to my assistant coach, Tom Uppena, that someone would have told me that Whitish would have had 4 fouls and we were down by 17 points. I said, you'd be crazy.
But you battled back into it, and you pointed out 2 guys that really helped lead the charge, Cole McDonald and Ben Muehlstein. Some pretty impressive fourth quarter stats there in the box score. Cole getting himself to the free throw line, and Ben did too. But Ben hit a couple shots where he kind of had to think about whether that was the right shot to take, and he did, and he made them.
Well, he had 2 made threes in our first game versus Riverdale, so he's not really quite the stature of than Frank Kaminsky, but he can step out on the perimeter and shoot. And that's actually, to be honest, what we were trying to do at the end of the game there, because everybody knew that Cole was right. McDonald was probably going to shoot the 3, so we were looking for a high pick and roll and have Ben pop, and if he's open, then let it fly. So,
well, you got it down to 1 possession game. It was an exciting ball game, and again, it's only the second game in and you're playing a quality opponent. And I know you turn right around tomorrow and play Schulzburg, and they went overtime to beat Lancaster tonight on a counter karate shot. So both teams come in tomorrow night pretty even. They played the night before. They went overtime, but it was a tight ball game. You battled Barneveld to the wire. You're starting to get into the season now. What do you use tomorrow night's game for, and especially it being a non-conference game?
Well, as I told the players afterwards, that some are post in play a lot tonight in our regular rotation, just because we had to match up with a smaller team. Tomorrow we're going to have a much bigger team, and so it's going to be a whole different story, and we'll probably face a zone to start with, but we'll be back to our double post and our what I plan on having most of the season, our normal rotation off the bench.
And who would be included in that? Anyone that we didn't see tonight?
Well, Michael Ruff, who saw action, but
Sure.
Then Cole Whalen usually would be in the mix there, along with Riley Ray
Sure.
in our post as well.
Well, look forward to that. We'll have the game here tomorrow night in the Big 93.7. Mike, a great way to spend a Monday night. Two good ball clubs, and I'm looking forward to see where both these teams go. But I know it's really young for your team, and best of luck tomorrow night against Schulzburg.
Thanks a lot, and stay warm on the way home.
All right, will do.